This episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, fill your cart up with all their amazing comics. Use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. Save you 10% at checkout. Not only on their website, but also at their eBay account. And the link to eBay can be found on their homepage at CarterComics.com. Again, CarterComics.com is your one-stop shop for all comic needs.
We don't have to go through with this. You don't have to go through with this. I don't have to go through with this. We're already far past that, Tony.
Too much has happened. And we have to do this. This has to happen. And I know the L-I-M means for me.
Well, it means way more to me.
What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
And I am Pacman.
And welcome back to another episode of This Freakin' Show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. Cartton Joe is off at a family party. Which I know what you're thinking. Hey, aren't you family? Shouldn't you be there too? No, I got a wrestling show I got to work at tonight. I'm at home, and Pacman, one of my co-hosts from JFW, was gracious enough to come over and run a show with me and continue on putting out This Freakin' Show episodes and stuff like that. And it's weird because when I sit here and look at the time frame on when JFW started up and when This Freakin' Show started up, just in this year and season alone, it blows my mind that JFW is still like 10 episodes ahead. Which I think JFW started the first week of this year, if I remember right. And
that sounds about right, yeah.
I think it was. I'm trying to remember because we took the last 2 weeks of the year off, I believe.
Yeah, and then we came back to talk about Rocket Pro.
Yeah. So
I remember. Yeah.
And then This Freakin' Show, we started up season 1's episode. Season 8's episode was, I think, the third week in January. So it's weird that with the additions of doing the J shows and stuff like that, so far ahead. But anyways, that's not what we're going to talk about. One thing I want to talk about is what you did right before we started recording, which makes me want to start recording like immediately instead of you finishing your breakfast. Because I'm also going to eat here in a minute. Because for those of you who do know, we do record This Freakin' Show in the mornings on Saturdays. It just became a lot easier. And fucking Pacman's over there eating a bagel, and he's eating it the right way. And I want to talk about that for a minute because you're eating it like it's a sandwich, and I'm guessing all that's on there is cream cheese.
Yep, onion and chive. That's what I go to with an everything bagel. It honestly is a good combination.
It's the best. When you go to, because you made this bagel at home, but when I go to Dunkin', or if I go to Panera, always an everything bagel. And I think Dunkin' is the garden cream cheese, and I think Panera is like the sour cream onion, chive, whatever. But it is the best combination. I mean, the only alternative is if I go to Panera and I get like the cinnamon crunch bagel with that honey walnut cream cheese.
Ooh, that does sound good.
It's fucking fantastic, but I love the fact that you eat your bagel just like I do, where it's just put together and eaten instead of somebody eating half and half.
And I mean, it's like I don't hate on anybody for how they do it, but it should be eaten like a sandwich. Absolutely should be eaten like a sandwich.
Growing up, I always half and halved it. I just always did because in my mind, it's more.
Mm-hmm.
You have more to eat when you separate them. And you're doing two, like right now, like I'm eating a Pop-Tart. Now, if I was to take both these and put them together and eat them at once, That's just fat. That's just horrible. But that's not put together like a bagel would be. So I started eating the bagel just like you did when I was working out in the field as an inspector, and I was always eating on the go.
Mm.
And obviously, when you order from like a Dunkin' and stuff, and you order the bagel and shit, they put the cream cheese. I mean, you could ask for it off. I always do it on there because I don't have time to smear my own fucking cream cheese. That they just put it together, put it in the sleeve, and then give it to you. It's like it was a lot easier for me just to fucking bite into it and eat it as I go than it is to split it apart and try to eat it. So the more I learn about you, the more I realize we are so similar in life. And it makes a lot of sense because I think what over the course of us talking and getting to know each other and what I've seen from my perspective of you is like you are where I was like just a few years back, which makes me feel good because I feel as I progressed mentally, I become great. Personally, I become better. And I see that happening with you. And some of the things that I see from outside perspective that worries me about you, I know is not going to be there forever. So even though we joke about your mom being my mom, I do kind of feel like, oh, it's like my little kid brother. He's where I was, and sometime he will be where I am. So it was pretty cool. And that's not giving you roses. It's just an observation that I noticed of myself.
I see. Yeah, no, we'll leave those roses for C-Red.
Yeah, that's a power hour thing. I'm not gonna sit here and kiss your ass for 20 minutes. I don't see Red's roses. They're fucking hilarious. It's when he did it to me back in I think March when I was there or April. Yeah. It's an uncomfortable moment though. I'll tell you that much. It's weird hearing someone talk to you, and it almost feels like I'm sure Steve Red loves doing it, but it feels like sometimes I think Steve puts him on the spot with it, especially like when he did it to Steel. It's like nothing against C-Red, but everything C-Red said in his roses, he's already said in farewell speeches and his his retirement and stuff. But I think Steve just enjoys the idea of like, okay, now it's time for C-Red to take the next 10 minutes to talk about and praise this guy. It's like why is C-Red giving the roses to somebody he just gave the roses to 3 months ago? It's like, so when he was doing it to me the entire time, I'm like, dude, just don't fucking do it. Like, it's fine. Like there's nothing I did that changed the course of this business that I don't need to hear it. But Power Hour's doing great shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, and I mean the one thing that I love about Power Hour is you're taking more of a positive look at the wrestling business as a whole and like really highlighting the people involved in it and showing people what they offer to the business. And in life.
As you sit there and call them mouth breathers and potty sniffers.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of having a phase right now, but
I'm going through a moment, damn it. I'm going through a thing, okay?
It's a phase, Travis.
But you're right. That's why I like that, and that's like when I was talking to Steve a while back, and I can't remember if I've ever talked about this. I had to have talked about it on some show at some point. That when Steve was when C-Red was retiring last year from wrestling, or as Steve calls it a sabbatical, whatever you want to refer to it, Paul, he calls it a sabbatical, whatever. The idea was that the Power Hour may have ended, that C-Red wasn't going to continue doing the Power Hour, and Steve said that if C-Red retired, he wasn't going to go forward with the Power Hour. Power Hour was going to die. And that's where the initial idea of the Power Hour becoming part of Freakin Studios. Now, it wasn't officially made until the night of the tribute show for C-Red, or the roast, or however you want to look at it, was officially happened that night. But at the previous the previous Rocket Pro show is when I was talking to Steve, and I was asking, so I keep hearing that C-Red might quit the Power Hour. And he was telling me, yeah, if he does, then the Power Hour's done and shit. And I was like, well, there's no point in stopping doing it. You can still do it. I was stupid enough to say I'll join the show with you, which I wouldn't have had the fucking time to do that. So I'm glad C-Red decided to stick around. But it's like, I was like, dude, like you stick around, we could, we can make it work. And because even though it's the same wrestling shows,
Yeah.
they're not the same wrestling show. They you guys focus more on the interviews and all that shit. And we focus more on match cards and recaps and stuff, which Steve still does it from time to time with some things too, but not as many as we do over on JFW. So it's like we have our niches and we stick with it. And whenever I do the interviews, it's more exclusive and like once in a while kind of things, whether it's Ivan or C-Red or even doing the live streams for SCW that I keep getting people like, oh, you need to bring him back. Oh, you need to bring him back. It's like, yeah, maybe, but it's just I'm tired of putting so much on my plate where I get overwhelmed. So I don't want to really focus on adding more to my plate until I get settled through everything we have going on right now. I mean, right now it's definitely not happening with us recording JFW on Sundays during the summer. I'm not going to, do a live stream and then jump on and do JFW. So it's way too much on my day off from my real life. Anyway, long story short, I'm glad Steve decided to stay. I'm glad he decided to. I'm glad Steve Red decided to stay, and I'm glad Steve decided to keep doing it. And I'm glad that they decided to join up with Freakin Studios. So that's been pretty cool. But PAX not only did Power Hour did, but the LIM officially joined Freakin Studios. About a month ago or a couple months ago or some shit like that?
A couple months back, yeah. We had decided to join, seeing the success of Power Hour coming under the Freaknet banner. I know we talked about it the last time I was on here briefly, and then that turned into a conversation off air about it.
Mm-hmm.
And once I kind of explained to everybody what exactly it was going to be, everybody understood. And no, we're all very happy to be part of Freaknet.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for it's because the thing is, and what people may or may not know about Freakin Studios is it's not like a financial network where like we're paying people to do this shit. I mean, in a perfect world, it eventually would be. I would love for it to be something like that, where I could financially, I had the funds to build a facility, have people come in, produce their shit, and all this other stuff, and we can make money through that. Maybe one day, yes. Whether it be through actual content making money, winning the lottery, whatever the hell it is. Yeah, that's the dream because then we're our own bosses and all that shit. But right now, it's just like when I first started doing podcasts, I was part of a group called Podern Family, and all it was just podcasts supporting each other and pushing each other through and everything. I wasn't really involved with it too much. I was just kind of part of it, which was fun because it helped me meet some people, helped me do some interviews with some podcasts, and you created these little ads for yourself that other podcasts would put on their shows. Like, hey, this is Travesty from this freaking show, and you're listening to History of Bad Ideas podcast and shit like that. And it was a lot of fun because the cross promotion helped, but it just got to the point where people kind of got lazy on it and they just kind of lost interest in helping each other, and then they just kind of focused on their newfound growth and just utilize it for themselves, which is fine. I mean, whatever. In the 8 years that I've been doing this, I'm sure I've done that from time to time too. But I wanted to develop a network because I wanted to cross promote and help each other. Like if my fans could find others, could find the Power Hour, could find LIM, could find Fourth Mother Box, could find Jedi Talk, then yeah, I want that to help each other. If JFW wrestling fans could find LIM in the Power Hour, why the fuck not? If the nerdy, personal, people of podcast listeners who listen to this freaking show want to listen to Jedi talking to Fourth Mother Box, then hey, it's a bonus for me too. If growth happens, then we win, and that's all I ever fucking wanted. I mean, I want the funds, but that's down the line. But it's the growth and helping each other, and if I can do this with my friends and stuff, that's fucking awesome. I used to have another podcast on this that kind of at the very beginning was with us and no longer with us just because our we didn't see the same way on certain things, so that it had to dissolve. So, still a good dude. I had nothing negative to say about him, but just the way he did things, I just didn't want it to reflect on how we do things. So,
Of course.
but still a good dude. Like I said, I don't like the idea of political views and stuff destroying friendships and causing rifts in between people, even though it happens. Still, it astounds me that that people can like end friendships based on their decisions in November. It's like it shouldn't. Like if you have a true friendship, then that shit shouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm. And I know we've talked a little bit about politics off air, and I used to I studied political science, and that's like the one thing that even I noticed like 10 years ago when I was in college, even before like Trump and before all of that, people really struggle to actually have conversations on the issues themselves.
Yeah.
They would rather make it personal. And because of that, we're not able to come to an understanding on one another. Like, I'm not going to say my views on here, but I will say that I think the political rhetoric in this country has gone to such a fever extreme pitch that, you know, it's kind of, there are days where it's like, when are we going to, all of us as a country, move past all of this and actually start talking to each other again?
Never.
And I think with social media, that's just really, that's Pandora's box right there, because everybody's in their echo chambers.
Well, what's weird is, and they kind of go off what you were saying a little bit. 10 years ago, even 12 years ago, whatever, before the maybe 2012, 2014-ish era, so a little bit before that, let's say people talked about abortion. Now, there's two sides to that argument, you know, pro or anti-abortion, you know, pro-life or, you know, whatever. Back then, your view on abortion was dictated through your argument of abortion. Now, when you talk about abortion, it's dictated based on the political parties. Like, nobody can sit there and say, like I believe abortion should be banned because, you know, I don't believe that the child's life should be taken just because somebody didn't have the, you know, intellectual stability or logical ability to use safe sex. If I say that, then I'm some right-wing extremist. It's like, no, that's just my view on abortion. But again, back then, when you talk about abortion, you're arguing abortion. Now you're arguing political parties. And I hate that people have done that now, because they will take, it's not even just abortion. It's the economy, it's the border, it's crime. Like, no matter what, if you argue it, instead of people seeing that you're pro or anti that topic, they just look at you like, well, of course you're going to say that because you're a Trump lover. Or of course you're going to say that because you believe Biden can do no wrong. It's like, it has nothing to do with who's going to run the country, what political party is going to run the country. It's just my view on the topic we're talking about. And I think people need to separate that shit. Because it's like, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, I believe so-and-so needs to win the election because so-and-so's views match up with mine. It's like, no, I just want this to fucking end. I just want this to fucking happen. I think this needs to occur. It has nothing to do with who's going to be fucking running this country. Because when you look at it logically, if it hasn't changed in 50 years, why is it going to change in the next 4? You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I've known Democrats who are against marijuana legalization. I've known Democrats who are more pro-life. Doesn't mean that they support, you know, the Republicans necessarily, but, you know, politics, especially in Will County in Illinois, it is very much, you know, a purple county, because you have, you know, Joliet, that's a little more, they support more Democrats. And then, you know, the further south you go, I've noticed anyway that it tends to be more Republican.
Yeah.
And that's the thing and that goes for a lot of suburban counties around here. Because there's a lot of mix of views.
Yeah.
I'll throw it. I'm in a more conservative town, but I'm not far from Bolingbrook, which is more blue.
Mm-hmm.
The suburbs tend to be more of a mix.
What do you think Naperville is?
Ooh, it depends on where you're at.
It's kind of like with cities.
Yeah.
The closer you're to the center, the bluer you are.
Yeah, like with I went to college in Elmhurst.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, Elmhurst College, well, it's now Elmhurst University, very much, I would say definitely just a little speck of blue and a whole lot of red, because Elmhurst is incredibly, incredibly conservative.
Yeah, it's... I know me and Joe talked about it probably a couple months ago, or a few. I can't remember. Time I can never understand it. I fucking lose it. I'm losing myself now. A while back we talked about the population of Chicago and how it's like 75% of the population of Illinois. And a lot of people talk about how that always dictates which way the electoral college goes. Like, it doesn't matter what Illinois wants, it's what Chicago wants. And I get it. I understand how it works. There's more people in Cook County than any other county in this fucking state. And it's one of the things where I think if you really look at it, like if Cook goes blue and every other county goes red, you still go blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird thing. Like I always envision that when you do the electoral votes, when you look at counties and stuff like that, and I don't know anything about politics, so what I could be saying could be true, but I don't think it is. I think it's all based on population, which maybe it should be more Senate based, where it's 2 representatives per county.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea. I disagree with the idea of people saying that Chicago should be separated from Illinois. I think that's fucking stupid, but I understand their mindset on it, but that's just fucking dumb. Because then you just basically
100%, yeah.
Yeah, because then you just basically say, it's like, well, I don't get what I want because they get what they want, so they need to fucking go away. It's like, it doesn't, like, shit doesn't really work that way. Like, that's not how life fucking works. You just gotta accept it for what it is and just move on. It's like my mindset I have with people in my town who are constantly complaining and bitching about some of the work that's going on in my town as far as remodels and road work and all that stuff. And I understand that they're frustrated that downtown Peatone is torn to shit, and it's been like months that no one can actually be on downtown because the roads are all torn up, the sidewalks are torn up, businesses are fucking struggling. And I understand that, and I sympathize. What am I trying to say?
No, you said it right that last time.
In my head, I keep thinking simp. You fucks.
The sober, intelligent-minded person, urban planner. Exactly. Let's go.
But at the same time, it's like, if you don't like what's going on, there's a million other fucking towns you can go live in. Like, if you really fucking hate what Peatone's doing, go to Beecher, Manteno, Monique, Grant Park, Matson, Manhattan, Wilmington, Braidwood, Morris, Joliet, Shanahan, fucking Solomon, fucking Riddick, Buckingham, Herscher, Grant Park. Dude, it's like there's other options you could do if you have a problem with where you're at. And that's no different than anyone else. All these people can say is like, Illinois sucks. Then fucking move. Look online, find a job, get employed, and fucking move.
Mm-hmm.
It's like why sit there and be bummed out that you live where you don't want to fucking live.
And I will say, with going back to what you were saying about people wanting to separate Chicago from Illinois, the rest of Illinois.
Oh.
is the other side of that coin is you do that, a lot of the economic power and the jobs and a lot of things in the state center around Chicago. So you lose that aspect of it. So some of I'm trying to like think of a way to like the way I want to like phrase it, but like certain like for people that receive, federal benefits, for example, a lot of those tax dollars come from Chicago area.
Yep.
Now you lose Chicago, and then you have the rest of the state, funding those federal programs. Those federal programs, the quality of them, the funding that goes into them is not going to be the same without Chicago.
You're talking about like food stamps and
Food
all
stamps, that kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. No, you're right. Yeah, because it is income that goes away. Plus, if you separate Chicago, you're gonna lose that fucking Lake Michigan waterway access for shit coming in. You have to get it all from Indiana, and let's face it, Indiana sucks. Fucking Giggles moved there. Yeah, it's a goofy situation. I jokingly take credit for some things WWE does when we talk about it on JFW. And I can't wait for Joe to come back so we can take credit for the fact that Kamala Harris is now going to be running for president based on what we talked about last weekend. I know it wasn't a factor, but it's just kind of coincidental how I released a show on Sunday morning, and it just so happens that evening Biden steps down and Kamala steps up. So, was that us? Well, prove it wasn't. I don't know.
And that's when we were talking off air because, the news about Biden dropping out happened while we were recording JFW.
Yeah, and yes, they do. It's not like they can dispute it because they said it that morning, Sunday morning. Biden was the guy. Biden's the guy. He's the man. But all of a sudden that evening he steps away. So it's like they just didn't listen to my show first. So it's like there you go. So changing the course of history we do at Freakin Studios.
Look at us. Look at us.
What are you freaking drinking, Pacman?
I am freaking drinking my usual extra large hot coffee with 5 creams and 5 sugars.
Now, yeah, I'm guessing you order through the app?
I order through the app and then I just go pick it up.
Yeah, because before Dunkin' app, which I'm about to say, I think I'm 4 and 4 though. That's a lot of sugar, but mine's more 4 creams, 4 sweet and lows. So, but I remember like when I first ever went to Dunkin' I think I was like 22, and I was on a date with this girl up in Northbrook or Oakbrook or some shit fucking up there. And we went to dinner and we had a good time. And then after dinner, we decided to drive around for a little bit. And she wanted to get coffee. And so we went to Dunkin'. And apparently, like, you used to have to order, like, if you wanted extra cream and sugar, you're supposed to say lots of cream and lots of sugar. That was kind of fucking goofy. But
I can kind of remember that. My aunt is the biggest, like, Dunkin' Donuts fan that I know. Yeah. Which is why it's usually like the main cup of coffee that I'll go for if I'm on the go. And she'll get hers. I think it's like she calls it Boston style. Which I'm blanking on what exactly it is, but I know she always orders it Boston. They know what it means. I'm not questioning it. Maybe it comes with a side of Ben Affleck. I don't know.
Right. It makes you lose your car keys.
Makes you lose your car keys. You can't smart park. Makes you support the pets.
Boston style coffee. See, growing up, my dad had his art studio in the basement. The coffee pot was the first thing in the morning. My dad was shot out from the basement because someone threw me a pack of cigarettes and bring me a cup of coffee. I opened the drawer and had the carton of cigarettes, Virginia Slim menthol. Gross. And would toss them down. He'd catch them every time. Then he would... Time to make coffee. My dad was diabetic, so he used Sweet 10 in a squeeze bottle. That stuff tasted awful, blah, blah, blah. Next was milk because my dad liked his coffee Boston style, which means lots of milk. Oh, okay. So it's
that's
milk
it.
and
That's
sweetener.
it.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's. Dude, I used to have that when I was a kid. My grandma fucking loved her to death, lunatic, don't know why, would give a 6-year-old fucking coffee, but it was like it was like a quarter coffee and 3/4 milk. So like she called it a cappuccino, So, but
Yeah.
God bless. I miss and love her so much. God, it's weird. She's been gone 23 years. But yeah, just I don't drink a lot of coffee. When I go to Dunkin' now, I get a large iced tea, black iced tea, and then those chorizo and cheese wraps.
Ooh, those are
Those
good.
they're probably the best out of the three. I think I tried all three of them. There's like a chicken Greek one or some shit that is just dog shit. So yeah. I don't want to talk about politics a lot though. I want to talk about something you're doing now.
Oh,
Because
before you do, what are you freaking
yeah,
drinking? I gotta
yeah.
ask.
Well, good for you.
I gotta ask.
I'm drinking Essentia ionized alkaline water.
Very good.
Yeah. I was when I didn't accidentally, I ended up buying a case of water on Amazon because I needed something delivered to me the next day. And in order to get it, I had to buy $25 worth of shit in order to show up. So I'm through like, what the fuck do I need? What the fuck do I need? And then it came out like a 12-pack of these was like, I think it was like $14. And I was like, fine, it's just over $1. Or no, it was $8. It was $8. I was like, it was under $1 a piece. And I was
That's
like,
not
fuck
bad.
it, why the hell not? So I got them. And yeah, now I got 3 cases of them. And I don't know if it's helping, but ever since I started drinking them, I've been feeling a little bit better. But that could be a mental thing as well. I'm doing my CPAP machine and shit like that, so I'm sleeping a little bit better on that. Now I just gotta figure out how not to be fucking fat. And I think maybe eating fucking Pop-Tarts ain't the thing, but I don't know. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother sad fucking time. But yes, ionized water, fucking delicious. I recommend if you guys got an opportunity to drink Essentia, fucking do it. I think they have like those watercrafts like Brita filters. I don't know if you
Yeah.
had them growing up and shit. I think they have them where like it kind of like ionizes the water and shit.
I've had a couple bottles of it. It's very good.
I like it. Yeah, it's the off-brand Smart Water. I can't. It's like Casey's or whatever, but they have an ionized or alkaline like version of water, and it is good. I do like it. I want to talk about indie movies because you are in the process, along with the LIM, in creating a movie to dictate your current situation in the LIM over the course of this summer. Um, so I told you like at one point because whenever we do talk, obviously I gotta talk about myself. I was talking about how like growing up back in
Yeah.
like I think it was like high school, probably a year after. So me and a bunch of buddies of mine, we would make independent films or our own like little fucking movies and shit. As I mentioned, there are at least 2 of them that will never see the light of day, at least by me. The other ones aren't that bad. The other ones are actually pretty good. But you're doing that now, man. And
Yeah.
let's start with first question because now we're in the interview portion of Pacman. What made you decide to want to make an independent film dictating the current events of the LIM during the summer of 2024?
So we were thinking about summer all the way back in like December. And Gabagool had this idea for something that you're going to see in the movie, which I'm really keeping tight-lipped here because I want people to be surprised.
Yeah.
And I thought it was an awesome idea. Like, okay, this thing that he wants to do, how do we make this happen? And we originally, what we were going to do, we were going to do an LIM Civil War. That was the idea. And we were talking about like, okay, so we want to do the Civil War. You want to do this thing. We can make this work in the context of this. How are we going to get this out? And Gabagool's like, let's make it a movie. So it was Gabagool's idea to turn it into a movie, which I think for me, what made me very, very excited about it was the fact that me and Gabagool, having known each other for 20 years, we both wanted to. We've always had those big pie in the sky ideas for things we wanted to do together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we tried to start a band in high school. We only had one meeting. That almost happened.
A band, like
a band,
like a legit band.
With me, him, and one of our buddies, we almost did.
Yeah. What was the band name idea?
Planet X.
Oh, okay.
It was gonna be called Planet X, and I know Gabagool's gonna love the fact that I brought that up.
Yeah, what kind of
When
music?
he listens back. I think we were going rock and roll with it.
Yeah, but covers, I'm guessing.
We started right. We were gonna write songs because we had one of the guys in our group who was a songwriter, if I remember right. But we talked about that. Then we decided we wanted to make a movie. So we did actually try to make a movie when we were.
So we're just ignoring the whole band thing. We're just gonna move on from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
because
not. No, we're not. No, we're not. Yeah, I got a couple more questions about that. What instrument were you gonna play?
I was gonna I think I was gonna sing, if I remember right.
You were gonna sing, and then there were two other people, so guitar and drum.
I think Gabagool would have been drums because he was in band and knew his way around a drum kit.
Okay.
And then our buddy Christian was gonna be guitar because he was really good with guitar.
So no rhythm guitar, no bass. You're just really going out there 75% monkeys and
basically.
Yeah. Okay.
From what I remember, this was freshman year of high school, I think.
Okay, so 2010 or whatever.
Something like that. 2008, 2009-ish.
2008, 2009. Okay. And you say rock and roll now. You're talking about like Elvis? Talk about Nickelback?
I don't think we got to that stage of firming it out, but
so you just said rock and roll. Like, I want to sing rock and roll, but not what kind of rock and roll.
Yeah, we didn't get to that far in the planning stage. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so Planet X.
Planet X was a thing.
What came first, Planet X or PX?
Planet X, because PX would have come in sophomore year when I was given that nickname.
Okay, because I was going to say right now, if Planet X was your idea, you clearly just said, oh, this sounds close enough to PX where I'm okay with it.
No. So that would have been freshman year, and then PX, the nickname was coined my sophomore year of high school.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, movie.
We had this idea. One Friday night, we were going to just make a zombie movie called The Last Hope. Now, the trailer is still in the ether. It's out there. And it is the most unintentionally funny thing that I think we've ever done.
You uploaded it online.
It was on YouTube for a little bit.
It should still be up there.
I think Gabagool deleted that channel. So Gabagool, if you are listening, re-release the Last Hope trailer.
Yeah, release the Last Hope.
The people need to see it. The people are demanding it.
Which I love the fact that it sounds like you just ripped off Last Jedi and New Hope, but
I think the name was Gabagool. But basically, with this trailer, I'm coming into Gabagool's house. He's sitting down playing solitaire and just professing his love for solitaire. Then he's reading off the scores of some basketball games.
Yeah.
And then we hear like a banging. We're like not sure what it is. We're trying to get a hold of our buddy Christian on the phone. I'm like, I keep looking into the camera. I keep grinning at random points. Like no commitment to character at all. And then we had Christian come in at some point with like green face makeup. And he was the zombie, started eating some gabagool, and I ain't talking, the sandwich meat. And I ran away because I have good survival instincts to like not stay where there's a fucking zombie.
Sell it. Good. Yeah. That'd be concept one. Get away. Awesome.
Yeah. So that is around somewhere. I'm sure he still has it, but we've always
and that was the trailer.
That was the trailer.
Sounds like that was the movie.
That was the trailer. We were gonna film some more stuff, and then, life happened. I think Gabagool was in a play, or no. Christian was in a play, so then we never got around to filming it. But it always became a running joke.
How does one guy doing one play dictate the completion of a movie or not?
So the drama club at Lockport, very, it takes a lot of time. I was in it, Gabagool was in it, and Christian was in it. But we all knew each other before that. There is definitely, when it comes to the stage and plays and rehearsals and stuff, it does take a lot of time away from you from other things.
Yeah, you were in plays in high school?
I was.
Yeah, what kind of plays? Throw me out some names.
So I was in a version of Jack and the Beanstalk called Jackie and the Chili Stalk, where I was an evil version of Jack, which, if you want to really think about it, the way that character was written is basically a prototypical version of the Top Fan. That is the best way I could describe it.
Okay.
There was Alice in Wonderland. I was the White Rabbit, which I'll send you off air, but I lost my tail on stage. My tail fell off my costume in the middle of the big climactic chase scene, my first night out. And then there was Shakespeare Project, where I was a pro wrestling referee for, what was the name of the play? Because it's like a bunch of different Shakespeare plays modernized.
Yeah.
It was Taming of the Shrew.
Okay.
And they turned that into a professional wrestling match, and they had to cast me. They knew I was the big wrestling nut even then. So I got to teach the actor that played Petruchio how to do a single leg Boston Crab, which I was very proud that I remember the name of that as I was showing my drama director a couple moves on the actor. I'm like, what moves can we do, Pat? I'm like, all right, single leg Boston Crab.
There you go. It's easy. It's easy to do. Yeah.
It is an easy move. But that was fun. And then I directed a play with my buddy Stevie.
For school.
It was a one-act play. We did a version of... Oh, crap. Well, I'm trying to think. Was it Noel Coward? It was... I'm trying to remember... I can't exactly remember the name of the play, but it was about some dinner guests getting mixed up. And they invite the wrong people over, so they have to figure out who the hell they invited. So
you directed an actual, an act from an actual play. You didn't write a play or
no. It was a adaptation. I know it was Noel Coward.
Okay.
But I've always had that theatrical side to me. Even in college, for half a semester, I did a little bit of improv. Which I will say, it is so much harder being funnier when you have to be funny, or improv and think of things on the spot when you have to, versus actually doing it in real life, in real time.
Yeah.
So it was there. I was not, I will admit, in the class itself, I don't think I was as good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've always had that theatrical side, and that came from, my godfather who passed away about 5 years ago. He was in plays. And, going back to the LIM movie, we got away from the Civil War story.
Hold on. We still got to talk about me.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
First off, I do agree with you. I think when you do being funny instead of just being funny, it does kind of take away from it. When people sit there and people coach is oh, you should try stand-up comedy. It's it's not the fucking same. What I do on podcasting or in person to be funny you can't make a stand-up career out of that. You know, like I couldn't go into an open mic night and put together a I couldn't put together a I forget what it's fucking called, but I couldn't put together a group of jokes and be funny. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. And I thought about that, like driving home and shit, being like, oh, you know, well, if I told a story like this and I opened up like this and blah blah. But even to me, it's like that's just not funny. Like, so I couldn't put together a 5-minute block of comedy or some shit. I'm just funny just because I'm funny, because I say random things at certain points that maybe a little bit line-ish, but it's different. So I agree with you on that. Also, I also did a play. I did one. It was a musical. It was called I don't remember. It was I do remember that I was a principal and people were getting ready to put on a play. So it was a play about a play, and the main character gets knocked out by accident and falls into the reality of what the play is. And it's based on the Renaissance Fair. And so, like, the first part, I was the principal. And then the second part, I was a king. And I want to say it's called A Night to Remember. I just can't remember if that's what it was. I do remember that I was. Oh, God. No, I don't think I was. I think I had a royal subject called Circumference. I can't remember what I was called, but I remember still to this day. So this was when I was 11 years old when I did this play. My very first line in the play was, "This auditorium is looking fabulous. Does everyone have their costumes?" And the first line in the second act was, "Are all the preparations ready for the animal fair?" And I remember those because the run through, the dress rehearsal, the final run through before opening night, the very first line that I said was, "Are all the preparations ready for the animal fair?" And I fucking froze. Because the moment I said it, I knew I was wrong. Luckily, it was in rehearsal, and I didn't screw up in the actual plays and shit. But the moment I did it, I fucking heard it. I was quiet. I was like, "Fuck," and then I just did my fucking line. Like I said, it was a dress rehearsal in front of people our age, so it wasn't bad, but still feeling like I fucked up. I'm just like, God damn it. But because of that moment, I remember those two lines from the entire fucking thing. And it was also kind of weird that fucking, like, my girlfriend at the time was playing the role of my daughter in the play, and she ended up fucking, her character fell for another character, and I think that was the downfall of our fucking relationship. But it was fine. We were 12. It doesn't really fucking matter. But anyways, okay. So movie.
Yeah. So with the top, when we went away from the Civil War story and we're like, okay, we can still try to tell get to the same, outcome.
Yeah.
But we got to do something different in the middle. And I was at the Monday Night Raw in Chicago, the last one, where The Rock beat down Cody Rhodes outside in the rain. And I'm like, what if I did something similar to the final boss? Mm-hmm. But it's like this fan with a superiority complex that's just trying to hold on to the LIM championship by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it. I ran it by the guys. I'm like, hey, what do you think? Like, what if I went heel here? And they're like, they loved the idea. They thought it was cool. And so the top fan came about. From that point on, I started really watching a couple things to sort of figure out where exactly I wanted to take the character. I was talking a little bit about my Godfather earlier. you know, he was like one of my favorite people because he was very theatrical. That's why I got into the arts like I did, because of him. Because I remember when I was still living in Chicago and he was doing community theater, and he did a play called 10 Little Indians where he was the judge. And I mean, his intensity was like, it was scary, and it didn't like, me being so young, I think I must have been in first or second grade. It was scary, but I was so captivated by it because, it's the polar opposite of who he is. In a way, this character is kind of like my tribute to my godfather. But I also have been taking time to watch a couple things that have influenced that character. So, like Injustice Superman, Gollum from Lord of the Rings. There's a little bit of that influence there. Norma Desmond from the movie Sunset Boulevard. Basically, she is a former silent film star trying to hold on to her former glory in the age where talkies started to become more popular in movie theaters.
Gotcha.
So, there's that little element of him, of PX holding on to his past glories, with the match in December being LIM champion. He's still holding on to a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's aspects of the character, like some of the things that I've mentioned, there's aspects of that we're not at that point to show those aspects yet. Like the Norma Desmond stuff, that is coming.
Yeah.
I have some ideas for that already, but it's been fun. It's been challenging being that character and like staying. I'll admit I've struggled staying on all the time with it, because it's like when we were doing the bit where I kicked Danny in the dick. Like before that, I'm like, I'm gonna feel so bad about this. I'm like, you're the character.
Why do you gotta say?
You're the character.
Why do you say dick? Why can't you say balls? Why is it when I'm over on JFW we can say, oh, he kicked him in the junk? Over here you got to throw up dick.
Well, I mean, I kind of did.
This is a classy show. Technically, you need him. I don't know why we keep saying. I like how we keep saying kick. Dude, you couldn't get your jorts up that fucking high.
You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough.
You 100% need him in the groin. But, I mean, it sold the story.
Mm-hmm.
It did sell the story. It's one of the things like if people were to look at it without knowing who the LIM is, they'd be a little bit confused because they don't know the story.
Right.
Like, why is this dude stealing this kid's wallet, so he couldn't buy beer and shit like that? But for people who are true fans of LIM, mostly Rocket Pro, hopefully that grows over time. IPW, I think, has been kind of catching on to it too. That Richard guy, I think, kind of watches your shit, and fucking Chet, I'm sure, is watching your stuff. I can't remember that one dude's name. The shorter, elderly black dude who seems to be at every
Lincoln.
wrestling.
He's
Lincoln. Yes.
I love Lincoln.
Yeah, awesome dude. He's fucking everywhere. Like,
oh yeah.
It seems like every couple months he's popping up at a new fucking company. But then obviously because of Power Hour, you got Rion, and Rion's part of IPW, and you got Steve, and he's part of Wrestle League and C-Ret. So it's like people are tuning in to the LIM, so they're starting to learn more about you. So the kick in the giblets was a little bit aggressive, but you sold the story through it. So, anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, just fucking saying dick. God.
And then when we got to, the explanation part of like, I knew I was going to have to explain myself at some point. So Gabagool came up with the idea to do an LIM podcast episode about Operation Crazy Rock. And the idea behind that was it's a one and done where the LIM tries to strip the LIM championship away from PX to stop whatever it is he's been doing, especially the stuff with Danny. The idea that he had was PX has to steal Simp's gear and is in disguise as they all talk shit about him.
Uh-huh.
And I when he threw it at me, I'm like, I love that. Like, I think it'll really get people's attention. You could do a 2-parter with it like we did.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the ideas that it's been me and Gabagool. Everybody's thrown their ideas in as well. Double J has a character arc that we're building with. Smiley, we're working on some stuff for him. Simp, I'm going to say, is very, very critical to where we're taking the story. You know, Danny right now, he's got his own character arc he's doing right now. Maximus Orion, we actually got him doing, a character arc as part of this story based on some of the things that he has said about the LIM championship. So everybody's got a story. We're just making sure that nobody gets lost in the shuffle, because this is going to be this is the most ambitious thing LIM has ever done. And we want to make sure we highlight as many of us as we can. There are other people that are going to be involved with, the final product, which I'm not going to, necessarily spoil. But I think if you're a Rocket Pro fan, some of the things that we have in store are really going to get people talking. And I think it's going to hold people's attention. To say that.
Yeah, I think production wise, I think when it comes down to producing the movie, filming the movie and everything is going to be the trickier part. Because the thing is, I said right at the beginning of the show, I see you and I see me in a sense. So I'm going to assume with you is exactly how you want things to look. Like, in your mind, how you want the shots to go and how you want it to be filmed. And I'm only assuming it's a single camera,
yes.
shot. So the difficulty is being in the shot and trusting that it's being shot the way you want it to be. When I did my videos with my buddies, Derek and Jason, 60% of them were just us. We included people in over time, but it was always like Derek, all he wanted to do was just film. He didn't want to direct. He didn't even want to be in the movies, but he had to be because we needed a victim. But he just wanted to be behind the camera and being kind of shown what to do. And then he did the editing. So directing and running it was me and Jason. So we were able to work with each other. And while I acted, he kind of ran the scene, and vice versa. Now, obviously, there were scenes where we had to be together because, again, there was only 3 of us.
Right.
So it's kind of like telling Derek how he had to do it and saying, listen, so when me and Jason are at this point and I'm grabbing him and throwing him up against the wall, because he was also a victim. He was, 5'4", 5'6" at that time and, 90 pounds. So victim, bad guy. He lived in a creepy ass fucking house. So listen, so when I grab Jason, I put him up on the wall and shit and choke him. I need you to get an image from here to here. And I need you to zoom in onto his face and everything because I need to see him struggling and shit. So he would do it, and I would watch it, and for some reason, and I'm not a perfectionist, but I just liked I like things that are a certain way. So I would watch it. So we would shoot it. I'd watch. I look. I'm like, it's right there, but it's just not right. It's like let's try it again, but let's do this, because you also have to have that mindset of these are 2 completely separate cuts. You're going to be cutting from here to here, but you could kind of envision how the cut's going to look, and just the angle just was and shit like that. Agree or disagree? Are you like that?
I have my vision for how I want things to look. Perfect example. We filmed a bunch of stuff last Saturday, and we had one shot in particular that when we get back together, because it's I was okay, I'll try it this way, and then if we need to reshoot it, as I review the footage, we'll come back and we'll refilm it later. And there was one shot in particular that I'm No, I think my gut was right on this shot. So that'll be something we'll have to work on. I mean, I'm always thinking about like camera angles and like how I think things should look. I mean, all of us have like kind of taken turns behind the camera. I mean, I filmed a sequence myself. Tricky Nicky has filmed a couple sequences for us, and he's taken behind the scenes photos for us. Check out Beartooth Photography for his work. Wanted to get that plug in for him. Gabagool has shots
Bear or Bare?
Let me see. I had this. Oh no, I guess I don't have this sticker.
Nice,
Here.
nice gut, bro.
Thank you. I can't help it. I'm a big boy.
I love how not only did you say dick earlier, but you shoved the camera right into yours while you're looking for a fucking piece of paper on a video podcast, by the way.
Bear.
Okay, so Bear. Gotcha.
Bear fighting photography.
Okay, you said Beartooth.
I thought it was Beartooth. It's bear fighting photography.
Now that's a fucking solid name for something as well.
Yeah.
Bear fighting photography. Okay, awesome.
So check that out. But yeah, we've all taken turns behind the camera, and it's honestly it's a collaborative effort. We're all kind of contributing our own ideas to things for how things should be shot, different angles we could take with different things. As far as the script, I always say there's a script, but realistically, I kind of went with a Iron Man approach. So we kind of have where the scene should start, where the scene should end, and then because we all are pretty good improving and bouncing off of one another, I outside of maybe a couple lines of dialogue that I think are critical to certain scenes, it's all pretty much just going to be improvised.
Yeah, I never had a script. I like that because yours gonna be different. I don't know. Like, do you have a time of how the length? Do you have a length of the movie?
I don't have a length of the movie, but I'm thinking it's gonna be around an hour. If I had to guess, it's gonna be around an hour.
The longest movie we ever made, I think, was 35 minutes. But that's after we started out with an 8-minute movie, a 12-minute movie, a 16-minute movie, a 20-minute movie, and then 34. We have a movie out there that is 45 minutes long. It's just not edited and created. I would still love for that to be done because to see something we did 12 years ago finally be finished would be fantastic. I don't know if the footage even exists anymore, but we did the same way. It's like there's once you have that connection with your friends, you're able to kind of play off each other and get a job. If you sat there and said, listen, Justin, okay, this is what we're doing in the scene, and there's going to be a lot of talking, monologue, whatever the fuck it is. We'll just work together. Like this is where we're at, and this is where we need to get. So let's get there. Mm-hmm. And knowing the connection you have with people, you're able to have a 10-minute scene of argument and disagreement, and it just flows and shit. And you know what? If you do fuck up, you'll cut, different camera angle, and then start over again. You know, and that's what I loved about working with Jason and Derek on the movies, because we had those connections where we had like understandings. I love Derek, and I'm glad that he went to college for this shit. And I think this has something to do with it because he also understood that you had to have different angles. So we, so even like when me and Jason were like flowing through and doing great, like Derek would yell cut and I'd be pissed. I'm like, dude, we were going. He's like, hold on, I gotta get a different angle. Because he also understands that you can't have one single shot for 10 fucking minutes. You have to get different angles. You have to give the illusion that there's different cameras shooting this footage and shit. Because all of a sudden now you're just watching, well, basically like our podcast right now. It's not just just me talking, just you talking. It's both of us here stationary, and he understood that. And once we incorporated that, then the movie started looking a lot better. Once we started bringing our friends in, the movie started looking a lot better and shit. So the idea that you guys collectively understand what you're doing could come together without issues. Because, I mean, sometimes people have an idea, and that's going to be my next question for you. When you have people come in and say, okay, like I want to shoot it this way, but then somebody has a different perspective, sometimes a disagreement can happen. You know, and like with me and Jason, like, you know, if I think like, oh, we should shoot something this way, but he thinks we should shoot something this way. And it's like, well, I get what you're trying to do, but it doesn't make sense for what we're about to do next. You know, it just makes more sense doing this way, but it's because he wants to change the next thing. And then, you know, it's never like a screaming match where it's like, fuck you, dude. It's like, it's just never like it's just one of the things like, okay, fine, let's end up shooting both and see which one looks better.
Right.
Or we don't got time, let's just do it the way we planned and move on. We can always use that scene for another fucking movie. Show you that. So, have you come across a moment where ideas kind of clash in a way? Like I said, not in a full-blown argument, just a minor dispute that you obviously will get over, but in that moment making the production based on time and what you want to do and shit, has that dispute occurred yet?
As far as you know what, actually, there was a subplot written in the original script of the movie involving time travel. Now, we might go back and revisit that as separate LIM content, because I think what we had there was a pretty goofy idea that could work. But I had met with Thomas Foolery when we were, well, his name's Cody, but he's a friend of mine in Gabagools. But I'd given him the script, asked him some of his thoughts, and he's like, that was like the one comment he had about it was, you know, the way that you wrote this does seem a little bit complex, and I think it's gonna, you know, take away from the story you're ultimately trying to tell. Like, it could work and it could be funny, and it was sort of the time travel subplot would have involved me. So it wasn't so much one of his parts, it's, you know, my part, and it was going to play a role into the movie. So I kind of sat with that. I thought about it. Like, I was like, yeah, you know, can we try to make this work? And then I started thinking about it even more, and I'm like, you know what? He is right. Like, the way that I had written it probably was going to confuse a lot of people. And then when I try to think of a different way of doing it, I'm like, yeah, but then I don't know how to write us out of it. So I'm like, well, just scrap it. There's a different way I can go about getting the same result. So as far as like where that time travel subplot would have led, because I wanted to get real weird with it. And it's a running joke between me and Gabagool, because in 5th grade, for some reason, our teachers let me go into each of the 5th grade classrooms to tell them that I wanted to build a time machine. I had pretty crazy imagination. So I gave my speech. Everybody was on board, and then everybody talked to their parents, said I was an idiot, and yeah, there you go. So Gabagool was like, we got to have it in there because that's funny. And I was like, yeah, it is kind of a tribute to all our friendships and stuff. And I loved it. I'm like, okay, we can think of a way to make it work. But the way that I was thinking, in retrospect, I don't think it was going to get the same result.
Well, why don't you just hold on to that idea and make your own LIM hot tub time machine and make an entire prequel about how you guys came together as friends.
There you go.
So it's not just based in one scene of one movie. Now you're just making an entire fucking movie. And if you do it based on Hot Tub Time Machine, you don't gotta character yourself up to make yourselves younger. It's just you guys. And I'm sure you can find a way to get into your school, and you guys are in 5th grade class, but you're in your fucking 30s.
All I'm gonna say is stay tuned because there might be I will actually give a little bit of a spoiler. There will be a flashback scene in the Lovely Intoxicated movie. We are doing one, but I won't say more than that.
Well, we've been seeing the gimmick play out on the Power Hour, on JFW, on LIM. Seeing people come out on Facebook, make posts. You over at the Slammers game over the weekend, being LIME and showed that, promoting the Nova Awards and stuff like that. Still doing your top fans, referring to yourself in the third person. So keep doing it, dude. It's fucking awesome. The teaser you released for the movie, I like it. I think it's really cool. I like the fact that I don't know who posted it, but why is top fan sitting on Dwayne Johnson is funny. But the trailer is really fucking cool. It gives it that, because the thing is, like, when I'm imagining the movie, and I don't know until it comes out, I'm imagining a comedy because that's how I imagine the LIN. But when you watch the teaser, it's more of a serious movie. I can only assume that it's going to be a blend of the two.
I would say so, especially when we get to what where everything is leading to. When we get to that, it's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be LIM pretty much in its purest form, and we're gonna make something really entertaining. And I think what we got in mind for how this whole top fan story is gonna wrap up, I think it's gonna be really funny. We all have a lot of ideas for where we can take things. I mean, we're going to be using, for that scene in particular, there were some ideas that you threw my way that we're planning to use.
Who did?
You did.
I don't remember what I told you.
My
memory.
Well,
I can't.
I can't say what you told me, but I do. There was one or two things that you threw our way that I was like, you know what, that's really fucking funny, and that's on brand for us. So,
there's a good chance that if I watch this movie, when I watch this movie, that'll probably be my favorite scene in the movie. If you were to tell me, like, well, I'm sure it was your idea, I'm like, oh no, man, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, dude, my memory is dog shit. That's not a travesty gimmick. That's a fact. Dude. My memory is dog shit. So I'm glad if I tell you something, you remember it, because if you ever came up to me and said, hey, what was that one idea you told me to do? I'm like, I couldn't fucking tell you.
So we're using, a lot of goofy ideas. There's gonna be some cameos. There's gonna be, laughter. There's gonna be, maybe some tears. It's just gonna be LIM just being LIM. It's just a bunch of friends who've known each other for a long time and are now, getting to do the one thing that, we've always wanted to do, and is that more long form MCU style, build up to what our end game is.
Yeah.
And I think people will be very excited about where things are going to go. I'm going to say that this movie is going to change LIM as you know it. So there's going to be a lot of huge implications from this movie on where we're going to take LIM after it.
Yes. Well, I did mention teaser came out. It's over on the Lovely Intoxicated Men's YouTube channel. So you guys can use the search Lovely Intoxicated Men on YouTube. Or if you go to Freakin Studios YouTube channel, it's in the featured because LIM is part of Freakin Studios. Also, the link is on their Facebook at Lovely Intoxicated Men -- Rocket Pro Superfan or whatever the fuck it is on Facebook. When's the movie coming out?
Labor Day weekend. We have it originally set for August 30th, and that's the goal. But if we need more time that weekend for editing and post-production, I definitely want to give us that chance. But regardless, it's still going to come out Labor Day weekend. We should have everything filmed. We might do like a little bit of reshoots, and then there's some more scenes we got to film, which we're still working on getting organized. But there's one big day that we got coming up where we're going to try to wrap production so then we can get into the post-production phase. But even with that, I'm still going to be like, we're also going to be editing the movie, as we film it too, and just edit it into chunks. And then it'll be easier for us to just put everything together later on instead of just like, okay, we have all this footage. Now we have 2 weeks to do it. Go. And I think that's going to be very stressful for, I think as far as editing, it'll be me, Simp, and Maximus Orion doing, aspects of editing. So we're just going to do it a bit at a time as we get footage. But basically, if all goes well, August 30th is the target date, but we can certainly move it back if we need to for editing purposes.
Gotcha. Premiering on YouTube?
Premiering, it'll be exclusively on YouTube.
There you go. I'm excited to see it, man. I'm excited. Hopefully it does come out sooner than later, because I do got the cemetery vlogs that I'll be dealing with that week. So I'd like to try to get in and watch it when it comes out. So I'm excited, man. And I'm really interested in seeing what I told you. Don't tell me. I want to see if I can figure it out. I want to see if I can figure it out. But I'm trying to have it come back to me now. I'm excited for you, man. I think it's really cool.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're all having fun filming it.
Yeah.
And that's end of the day. Like, we want to get the story over. We want to get people involved. I think to a point we've done that, but I will admit I don't think it's gotten quite the attention that we're like hoping for just yet. And I'm thinking of different things we can do in the meantime to like try to boost that interest again, because I want to make sure, and I think we all do as LIM, want to make sure this is something people really, really want to see. I think everybody, like FreakNet, our FreakNet partners, you know, Steve, I'm grateful for everybody letting me like be that character on the shows, because that also helps me sort of build that character out and play with it a little more, instead of just like waiting for the next LIM vlog or the next podcast to do that. Like, I've been playing and experimenting, and it is challenging because, you know, it's a complete 180 from who I am, and that I think is the biggest challenge for me. But it's something I'm having a lot of fun with.
Well, think about it this way, Pacman. Okay, you shared it on your LIM Facebook page, your teaser.
Mm-hmm.
Have you shared it on the JFW Facebook page?
I did. I was the one that put the Dwayne Johnson post.
Did you share it on the Freaknet Studios YouTube page or Facebook page?
I do not think I have access to that yet.
You should have access to the Freakin' Studios.
I
sent you, Tom, and Steve all access to the Freakin' Studios Facebook page and said, share your shit on here, because I was doing it, but between Jedi Talk, Fourth Mother Box, LIM, the Power Hour, JFW, this freaking show, it's a lot. So I gave you guys all administrative access to it to share your shit on there.
I don't know why I didn't get that.
Now, here's another thing, and I will tell you this too. If you send me that video, your teaser, which I think you probably sent it to me through Facebook Messenger. It's small enough. I'll throw it at the beginning of our video podcast.
Okay.
All you gotta do is ask, bro. It's as I said, Freaknet Studios is here to help each other. Okay, I'm going to put the audio podcast out here, I think on Monday or Tuesday, but the video podcast comes out a few days after. If you send it to me, I'll throw it in on this fucking video, you know? But you're doing a good job. So don't sit there and think that, you know, it's not getting the attention it is, because I'm sure it is. It's just that you're not getting the reactions to it, but I'm sure people are seeing it. But as I have said numerous times to you, it can't all just be on you. It needs to be on everyone else sharing it and promoting it and stuff like that. But I'm sure the eyes are on it. I'm sure it's going to be great. And you still got, what, four more weeks of promotion? So that gives you, what, 4 JFWs, 4 Power Hours, 2 LIPs.
We got 3 more.
3?
We're gonna do we're gonna do a Nova's episode, an episode covering the Nova Awards. We're gonna record that this week for release. I think Sunday the 3rd or 4th, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so you have almost a dozen shows to promote it on. You have Facebook, you can continue to promote it. You got Instagram, you can promote it. You have TikTok. So I'm guessing that this teaser is on TikTok, is on Instagram, is on Facebook, so people can see it. So it's getting out there. You just got to utilize all aspects and avenues that you have. Also, Justin, John, Josh, Nick, Danny, Will, all these people need to fucking contribute to the promotion of it as well. Because that's the way things succeed. You have to do it as a group, as a team, you know? So, but I think it's going to be fine. I get the worry, I get the stress. See, I got lucky. My videos weren't made for people to fucking see. It was just made for us and my friends to have fucking fun and do it. So I didn't have stress making it. I get your stress because you're making an hour-long fucking production that you're going to show the fucking world. But at the end of the day, you achieve something and people are going to fucking see it. Send me the teaser. I'll put it on this video. I'll throw it up on a couple of the JFW podcasts and shit too. Maybe ask Steve to share it on his page. I'm sure he'd love to do it, you know? So, yeah. You got the outlets, man. Just utilize them. And if you don't have access to Freakin' Studios, I'll look into that because I'm pretty sure I did the same day I made the Freaknet group chat.
Okay.
So check that.
I'll double check, but I don't recall. I recall seeing a message like that, but I don't. I'll look into it after.
Yeah, because you're in that group chat because you turned down getting together on August 10th. So cool for you. Which is fine. I think Steve has like frontline that weekend anyways too. I don't fucking know. But dude, promotion of the LIM will happen through Freakin' Studios is what we do here. But outside of all that, what are you freaking thinking about?
So I'm thinking a lot about Deadpool and Wolverine. I went to see it yesterday. No spoilers. I will give my spoiler-free thoughts.
Worth it?
Totally worth it. Totally worth it. Everything that I was hoping for in the, I guess you could call it the official debut of X-Men in the MCU. Now, I mean, I know like they said that Namor and Miss Marvel were mutants, but like to actually see Wolverine, to see Deadpool,
Fox. I think Fox.
Seeing Fox, but like getting to see Hugh Jackman again as Wolverine in that costume, fucking amazing. Fucking amazing.
Well, it's something we've been waiting on since the Wolverine in like 2012 or 2008 or some shit like that. So we're talking about almost a decade of him opening that briefcase and seeing the fucking helmet. Now I know a lot of things. Again, don't spoil it. But I know a lot of people are questioning, does he ever wear the fucking helmet? I know there's clips out there that discuss, because the one thing that the MCU and Disney have done was like they show trailers, but they edit things out that's different than the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people had the perception that Wolverine is wearing the helmet or the mask or whatever the fuck it is in certain scenes. It's cool if he is. It is awesome that it is Hugh Jackman. I'm sure based on how the MCU is, they're going to be at alternative universes and there's going to be alternative Wolverines and shit. I do have one question I'm curious about, but I'll ask off the air, and I do want to answer on it, but it's just because I'm just kind of curious. But my plan is to go tomorrow. So I know a buddy of mine I was trying to get to go with. He can't do it till next week. It's like, I'm not waiting till fucking next week. I wanted to see the shit last night, but by the time I got home from work, I was like, fuck it. And I thought about going on Thursday night and taking off on Friday, but no. So I plan on going tomorrow morning and watching it, and I'll go watch it again next week. Because Wolverine is my top 5 Marvel characters. Love fucking Wolverine. So give me a top 5 Marvel for you. I know it's going to be a little bit long, but fuck it. Give me your top 5 Marvels.
Number 1, obviously Spider-Man. It's been my day one guy. Wolverine, I would say, is like my number 2.
Okay.
Hulk would probably be my number 3. I love me some Iron Man. I would say he's my number 4.
Okay. So really sticking with the Avengers there.
Yeah, number 5. I like the Fantastic Four.
Gotta pick one of them though. Come on now, man.
One of the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I'm not giving you a top fucking 8. Jesus Christ.
I was just saying the Fantastic Four as a whole. All right, but if I had to pick one of the Fantastic Four that's my favorite, probably Ben Grimm. Probably the Thing.
Gotcha. Wolverine's my number 1. Punisher for me is number 2. Ghost Rider's number 3. I like the badass vigilante ass kind of fucking characters. Deadpool is 4, and for number 5, I really dig fucking Psylocke.
Okay.
I really like Psylocke. Yeah, I think those 3 or those 5. I think that's my 5. Yeah, I know Wolverine, Deadpool, Punisher, and Ghost Rider are always in the tops. It's always that number 5 that really changes based on my like mood and shit. But I recently watched X-Men Apocalypse, and I'm just a huge fan of fucking Psylocke. So I really like her. Anyways, go ahead. Continue about Deadpool.
But so the one thing that I will say is like cameos aplenty, won't spoil any, but if you've been following those movies, you'll be very happy to see some people. There was one in particular where the costume design for whoever this character was taken straight from the comics, and it translates so well to screen. And it's probably one of my favorite interpretations of this particular character. There is a really great cameo in there that I won't spoil that is fucking hysterical. It's so funny what they do with this character. So I'm looking, if you'll get a kick out of it, I know. The fight scenes are shot so well. There is one single shot, maybe like 3-minute fight scene, and I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Like those continuous shots. Like I love the movie like 1917 about World War I, and it's shot as a continuous shot. So like getting to see some of that in Marvel, especially in the fight scene, the way that they shot it, where it kind of looks like a video game, would be the best way to describe like a beat 'em up, like a Genesis style. So I love the way that the fight scenes are shot and choreographed. The humor's good, very meta. I love the commentary on the modern state of the MCU they throw in. Like that level of self-awareness I thought was awesome, especially given like fan concerns with where the MCU has been in the past, few years since Endgame. So overall, I loved it.
Is there anything Marvel related as far as TV shows and movies you would recommend people to watch in order to understand parts of Deadpool and Wolverine? I'm guessing you have to watch Loki because we know it has to do with the TVA or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Loki is an important thing to kind of
a little
watch.
bit just to have that background on what exactly the TVA is. And there are some characters from the Loki show that do appear.
I'm hoping Owen Wilson's one of them. That'd be fucking clever.
But there are.
Anyways, but no spoilers. But is there something that needs to be watched? I mean, I'm not talking about if you haven't watched X-Men yet. Fucking get out from underneath your rock. It's been around for almost 2 decades. But like, I guess anything now. I guess my question. Yeah, I could ask it here. It's fine. Do you need to watch the animated X-Men '97 to understand what happens?
No.
Do that. Okay. Because I was just curious if they were going to utilize that in any way with this. Because,
no,
like I said, like with Doctor Strange, they kind of utilized, what if incorporated into that. So I was just really curious on if this was in any way. So, okay, cool. Because I'm not caught up on 97. I thought I was, but apparently they came out with like 3 more episodes. So I'm not going to fucking binge watch it. I'm going to, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to fucking nap skis, get ready to fucking commentate a wrestling show, and then I'm going to go to bed. Here's the thing, dude. If I get out of this fucking wrestling show tonight, there's a 10:40 showing of fucking Deadpool at Movies 10 in Bourbonnais, and if I get out of fucking SCW but in time to go, I will go watch it tonight. Yeah, because I really want to fucking see it.
Yeah, it's terrific. Watch for spoilers though, because I had a lot of those cameos spoiled for me because of certain friends posting certain things. But which is fine. I mean, it didn't really take away from my experience because when certain things happen, I still reacted to it, and it was a quiet theater at 8 a.m. And I'm the one whooping and hollering. I'm like, oh shit, it's that person, even though I knew it, but oh!
Right. Well, I know because I know the original Sabretooth is in there. We saw that in the trailer. Yeah. X-23 is in there. We saw that in the trailer. Mm-hmm. I'm curious on if Hulk's in there because there's a lot of Hulk Wolverine animation. I know there's rumors of people and shit like that. So it's interesting to see which rumors are true, which rumors aren't, and who they really do bring back as far as because the thing is too is like we gotta keep in mind that the Logan that we're seeing is not the Logan from the Deadpool planet or space or whatever the fuck they're calling it. Mm-hmm. It's from a different one. So because as far as I can tell, and this is just going based on what I'm seeing in the trailers, is the Wolverine in the Logan movie is the Wolverine of our time, is the Wolverine of our universe.
Right.
He died with X-23. So this is a different one. At least that's my perspective that I see based on the trailer. So going into it, that's what people need to realize. Like this is not the Wolverine that we've always had. It's going to be curious. It's going to be curious to see too. And again, this book makes me want to go fucking see this tonight because there's all these fucking questions. Is do they answer where Wolverine has been through this MCU? That's also a curiosity of mine. Was he fucking blimped away or whatever the fuck it was? Has he been around? When New York was fucking attacked, shit like that. Mm-hmm. Because I think the one thing they have to do, why they're incorporating X-Men in, which is very similar to like the Eternals. Like once they came out with the Eternals, and they had to answer where the fuck were they when all this shit was going on, and they answered that in the movie. They only get involved when needed, and they didn't need to get involved. So I'm hoping they answer that. If not in Deadpool Wolverine, once they start incorporating X-Men a lot more.
So I'm thinking this is the start of like more incorporation of the X-Men. Mm-hmm. Because like X-Men is probably my favorite superhero team. Yeah. Like I like the Avengers. Justice League, depends on the day for me. I know that's DC, but it depends on the day for me. Yeah. But like X-Men has always been like my favorite superhero group. Yeah. So I'm really, really excited to see them now in the MCU. And if I'm going to, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but I do think that they did set up a potential Avengers versus X-Men movie.
Okay.
I think there are some teases for it. I mean, they're moving away from Kang with Jonathan Majors, doing what he did and getting fired by Disney after the court case. So I'm thinking it seems like Feige wants to go more Avengers versus X-Men and have like a multiversal war between the Fox X-Men universe and the 616 of the MCU.
Gotcha.
So I'm thinking that's what it's setting up.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing it. Like I said, if I can see it tonight, I will. If not, it'll probably definitely be tomorrow morning. I think the first one's at 10 a.m. So
enjoy it.
I will.
What are you freaking thinking?
This is going to be my first wrestling show since May. I took the month of June off from all of wrestling. I did not make the SCW show in June that they had at the Music Fest. So I'm excited to get back. I'm excited to commentate. I'm excited to watch some Southland Championship Wrestling down in Shabans. And it's just going to be nice to kind of get back over there and get back into the swing of things. Obviously, SCW is the one I go to the most. I do try to hit IPW whenever I can. Rocket Pro whenever I can. It's just weird because, like I said, like with all the other stuff that I like doing, that I want to do, as far as JFW and this freaking show, it's like when I can find the time to have to myself, I want to fucking take it. But at the same time, I want to get back to fucking wrestling shows. So my hope and my goal is at least by the end of the year, I want to make it to a Rocket Pro show, an IPW show, an ARW show, and an MCW show. Those are the ones that are definitely in the area that aren't on SCW days that I can fucking make. So I do plan on making the Rocket Pro season premiere. I don't know if I'm going to make the fan access. So I can't see if fucking LIM's going to walk away with 6 fucking awards. But maybe.
Sweep. I'm seeing a sweep in our future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys on every single category?
6 of the 8 categories.
So it's not a sweep then.
So it'll be I'm saying for the ones that we would get nominated for, hopefully we have one award or one category where we're nominated twice.
Yeah.
For a Jimmy Kimmel chant and then Turtle starting a crappy landlord chant.
Yeah. So one of those has to lose in order for one to win. So it's still not a sweep. I don't think you know what sweep means.
Yeah, my house is a little dirty right now. I should probably fix that.
I don't know what's worse, that dinner tray or this fucking carpet shampooer. But this is where we're at. But no, I'm just excited to get back into professional wrestling and get down to SCW tonight. And I'm really excited to see because I got to talk to Hunter because I really want to start doing some more to start promoting these Majestic shows, especially with Capri coming in next month
I did see that. Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna dive back into SCW a little bit heavier than I have recently. But it's just more about managing my own time. But I also gotta start making time for myself, and again, that relates to a lot of health shit. So wrestling, bro.
Wrestling.
Pax, I appreciate you doing this. I don't know how, but once again, I'm almost at a fucking 2-hour show, so it's you. That's what it is, man. It comes down to you're the common denominator. I can do these shows in 45 minutes with Joe, but here we are, an hour and 36 minutes in. But I appreciate you doing it, and I had fun the entire fucking way.
This was a good time. Thanks for having me on again.
Fuck yeah, always, man. Like I said, I like doing them. I mean, obviously, I love doing it with Joe. We've been doing it together for 8 years. That's never gonna change. But when he's not available, I always like to do stuff with you or Jay or Nubby because it gives you guys more to talk about outside of professional wrestling. So I gotta get Nubby. I was supposed to have Nubby on with me a few months back, but I was having internet issues. But I would like to get him on here by himself and see how long we could talk before we just fall into wrestling again, because it'll happen. I mean,
it all comes back to wrestling.
It'll always come back to wrestling. But tell everyone where they can find you. I know we talked about it through the whole thing, but where are your social medias that people can follow you and the LIM?
You can follow us on Facebook at the Lovely Intoxicated Men, Rocket Pro Wrestling Superfans. We are on TikTok and Instagram at we_r_the_LIM. You can go to our YouTube channel at the Lovely Intoxicated Men to check out our podcast and our vlogs. We do have a Twitter, but I barely use it, so I'm more than likely just going to get rid of it because it just hasn't really, it just kind of is sitting there. But those are the big places you can find the LIM. And stay tuned because we do have a very aggressive ad campaign coming for the Nova Awards. We have a strategy, and I think it's a winning one. There may be nuclear weapons involved. That's about as far as I'm going to say. I'll explain that one off air, but I have this stupid fucking idea for a bit I want to do. I think it'll make people laugh.
Perfect. Oh God. Again, follow Pax and the LIM on social medias. Follow us, This Freaking Show, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, just by searching This Freaking Show. You can listen to our podcast wherever you pick up your podcast at. Just search This Freaking Show. Subscribe, rate, and review. If you want to watch, you can do so over at the Freakin Studios YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe over there and hit the notification bell for when you know these are coming out, as well as any other video that we may do over in Freaknet. I was actually talking to Joey not too long ago, and actually it might be a video you may be interested in getting involved in.
Okay.
Is we're going to drink ourselves across the United States. I'm probably going to I'm going to try to find a bar to work with in town here, and we're going to drink the most popular alcoholic beverage of every state. So, if you're interested,
you had me at alcohol.
Yeah, but it's not all fucking old style, so.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Alcohol's alcohol. I'll drink pretty much everything, but.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty much anything.
Guys, that's all I got. As always, I am Travesty.
And I am Pacman.
And thank you for listening to another episode of this freaking show. I'm out.